panga mtunzi tiende pamozi tonse a Zambia mtima umozi chikondi chatu palibe kusiana ndife amozi tieni tipange dziko latu.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Great North Road is no stranger to tragedy. It has carried countless buses, trucks, and weary travelers, but on this day, near Zani Muone, it carried a story that could have ended in mass funerals and national mourning. A power tools bus packed with 57 passengers heading for Nakonde suddenly coughed out smoke like a chain-smoking politician hiding corruption. In a country where road safety is often treated as a side dish on the menu of governance, the bus could easily have become a moving coffin, but it didn't. Because one man refused to let fate dictate the ending. That man was Bellington Mwape. Not a general, not a minister, not a celebrity, just a bus driver in a navy jacket with a job to do. And when that smoke thickened, Mwape showed the kind of leadership that entire cabinets failed to demonstrate. At Chaisa Station, he ordered everyone off the bus, calm, decisive, no time wasted. Then, as the fire threatened to spread, he drove the empty bus away from a filling station, knowing fully well he could be sitting on a ticking bomb. He didn't abandon ship like politicians running from accountability. He stayed at the wheel, steering disaster away from innocent lives. Let's pause here. Imagine the headlines if Mwape hadn't acted. 57 perish in Lusaka bus inferno. Politicians would rush to the scene, wave their hands, speak of lessons learned, and maybe order an inquiry that would gather dust in a ministry drawer. But Mwape ensured those headlines would never be written. Instead, today's headline is Hero Bus Driver Saves All. It's almost biblical. A man against fire, duty against fear, leadership against chaos. Now, compare Mwape's instincts to the so-called instincts of our leaders, some of our leaders. When the economy overheats, they don't steer us away from the filling station. They accelerate into it, blaming sanctions, opposition, or ghosts from colonialism. When corruption smoke fills the bus of the nation, they don't evacuate passengers. They keep us strapped in, promising air freshener while the flames leak at the windows. But Mwape, he did in minutes what governments failed to do in decades. He protected the people under his care. His mother, Violet Kalumba, gave glory to God, and rightly so. But perhaps God's grace is best seen when ordinary people rise to extraordinary moments. God didn't send angels with fire extinguishers. He sent a man with steady hands and a clear thinking. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes divine intervention is dressed in an intercity bus terminus uniform, not a bishop's robe or a presidential sash. And let's not ignore the symbolism here. Zambia's roads have become the perfect mirror of its governance. Potholes that swallow tires, buses that overheat and burst, and passengers who pray harder than they trust in regulation. Admittedly, the government of HH is trying its best to fix the mess that was left by the PF government. Too many times, tragedy strikes and we are told it was an accident. But what happened on this road shows that vigilance, responsibility, and courage can change destiny. One man's choice spared 57 families from grief. One man's eyes stayed open when disaster was seconds away. Meanwhile, others with far greater responsibility choose blindness, Leaders build mansions while hospitals lack medicine. They promise development while buses burn on highways. They campaign on slogans while drivers like Mwape quietly prove that real service is not about slogans but about saving lives. If Mwape had been behind the wheel of government, perhaps Zambia wouldn't always feel like a bus running on fumes toward a fuel station of destruction. Thank God we have a democratic and able president steering the wheel now. Think about it. 57 passengers walked away alive because one driver made the right call. That's not just survival, that's a national lesson. Leadership is not about sitting at the front, it's about guiding those behind you to safety. The tragedy is that in this country, it takes a bus driver to remind us of what leadership looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, if you believe Zambia needs more leaders like Mwape and fewer reckless drivers at the wheel of the nation, smash that like button, share this video and comment below. We need real leaders. Because let's be honest, a bus can be replaced, but lives cannot. And Mwape's decision was more than heroism. It was a sermon on responsibility. While others play politics with people's futures, he proved that courage and vigilance are the true fire extinguishers. So today, Zambia must salute its real hero, not a politician, not a tycoon, not a man with power in parliament, but a bus driver who looked fire in the face and said, "Not today." Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to Zambian Files, where stories like this remind us that when the smoke rises, real leadership is not about speeches, but about action.